I had so many panic attacks about it. None of us know what the fuck we're doing. I will link it down below because you need it. I promise. How I knew I had enough saved up to be able to support myself. This is what I did. What's up you guys, it's Hannah. Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to talk about today's topic, and that is moving out. I will talk about this to anybody who asks, any of my friends who are in the process of moving out, maybe for the first time. I love talking about my experience because moving out is one of the most anxiety-inducing, arguably one of the scariest things I've done. There's obviously a lot that goes into it emotionally, physically, financially. Today I want to give you my thoughts, my opinions, my advice on moving out. Charlie, what are you doing, Queen? Right. Also, if you're new here, hi, my name is Hannah. Welcome to my channel. 23 years old. I graduated from college last year and then I moved to New York City in the fall of last year. So I've lived here about 9 months. Welcome. Let's talk about moving. Let's get into it. I asked you guys on my Instagram story for some of your biggest questions about moving so that I could try and pull out themes, make sure to address like the most commonly asked topics in this video. I got so many really good responses and questions, so thank you to everyone who sent one in. If you are interested in like providing your feedback or taking part in things like this in the future, my Instagram will be right here. You can go follow. So I went through a good bit of the responses and they really boil down into two main categories, which are the mental and emotional side to it, feelings about moving out, how you know it's time to move out, feeling uneasy, anxious, all of that kind of stuff, homesick, and then financial. So how much do you save? How to save, how much are you realistically going to need when you're looking to move out, how much things cost, stuff like that. This is not going to be a comprehensive view of everything that you probably need to know. Hopefully it's a good starting point and it gives you some insight. And then just for fun, no one really asked for this, but I wanted to talk about some of the best things that I bought for my apartment. I compiled a list of some of the most useful things that I have here that I genuinely do not think that I could live without. I do have some things that I am so passionate about and I tell everyone, I'm like, you need this. So we'll get to that at the end. This is a hint to one of the items I'm gonna tell you about later. I wrote notes for this, as I should. I don't really know how to even segue or intro into this section. Moving out gave me so much anxiety. I struggled for months about, am I ready? Where do I want to go? How am I gonna feel? And I'm also very much a homebody. I always have been. So of course I had the thoughts of, what if I miss home so much like that I feel like I'm gonna die? I was overthinking it like crazy. Since the beginning of 2021, I knew I was graduating that year and I knew that moving out was the next step that I wanted to take, but I was dreading it. I was terrified. I had no idea what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. Moving out to a new place, moving out of your parents' house for the first time, you're probably going to feel a combination of so many different emotions. You can be scared, you might be anxious, you might feel like you're going to be homesick, lonely, you might have first time move out jitters. I know I did, and I feel like a lot of people that I know, probably a majority of the people that I know, have move out jitters in some capacity. I've talked about this a lot in past videos as well, but it's essentially just you're leaving your comfort zone, and your comfort zone is comfortable. You like it there because it's familiar. Leaving that to go do something unfamiliar, uncharted for you is naturally scary. I always like to share this little thing that my mom says, your comfort zone is a great place, but nothing ever grows there. That could not be more true. If you are feeling any of the emotions that I just described, or any emotions really, all of them are valid and okay and completely normal to feel. But another little quote, I really like quotes, if you couldn't tell. Another little quote that I saw literally just like last week, and it has just stuck with me and I wanted to share it, is, if you weren't ready, you simply would not have the opportunity. Moment of silence for that one and let it sink in. I struggled so hard knowing if I was ready to move out. But then I realized I'm never going to feel completely ready. There's always going to be something that my mind is putting in my way that's telling me that I'm not ready. The reality is that if I was not physically ready, if I wasn't in a place in my life where that is a possibility for me, I would not even have the opportunity to think about doing it. Somebody asked a question on my little Instagram story post about this. They asked if it's true that moving out for the first time, it's the sooner you do it, the better. And I understand why it may feel that way. A lot of the time I feel like when we're looking at other people our age and just how they're progressing, if they're graduating and then they're moving out, like that's the logical next step. We might feel like that's the logical next step for us as well. But in reality, there is no logical next step for your own life. Like, you decide what that is. You don't have to do things at the same pace as other people. In fact, you're probably not going to, because everybody is on their own unique path. They're different sets of circumstances. You can't compare apples to oranges, if that makes sense. So it's not necessarily the sooner the better. After your educational years are done, it's a free-for-all for all of us. Obviously, when you're in school, it's like you go from one grade to the next, and then you graduate. In the rest of life, you just don't have that. You don't have like certain times you need to be at certain places. It's a free-for-all. Keep that in mind. And also, none of us know what the we're doing. And if you really think about it, we are all teeny tiny little specks on a floating rock in outer space that we only know like 1% of, because outer space is literally endless. We're floating through an endless dark abyss of outer space that we don't even know what the is out there. Is it that serious? Let's talk about why moving out is actually a good thing. And this is something that I wish I could tell my younger self too. I wish I could tell Hannah from last summer, who was freaking the out the whole summer, worrying about moving out, feeling so much anxiety and dread for it. I would tell her that moving out is scary, but it's something that is so rewarding once you do it and you get into the groove of it. I have experienced so much personal growth in the last 9 or so months. I have learned how to fix so many different random house problems. Not just that, but living on your own, you spend a lot of time with yourself. You get to know yourself in ways that you never have before. I just feel like I am such a different person in a good way than I was a year ago. And that's not to say that me a year ago was a bad person. It was just I didn't have this experience, and now that I do, I feel like I'm better for it. Next, I want to talk about some of the financial aspects of moving out. If you are planning on renting a place, or even if you're buying, you'll have like a monthly mortgage. So it's kind of like paying a rent, but you're paying it towards ownership. Anyway, a figure that I always have seen is that your rent should be no more than 30% of your monthly income. Obviously, you want it to be less if possible. So that should be one of your initial parameters when you are looking for places to live. If you're somebody like me who works for themselves and you don't have necessarily like a set monthly income, try and just make your best guess, do an average, and if you're between a couple numbers, always choose the lower one. Now, I got a lot of questions about how I saved up for preparing to move out, how I knew I had enough saved up to be able to support myself. This is what I did. I made a separate savings account in the same like bank account that I already had. It was free and very easy, honestly, for me to just open up a savings account within that account. I just was able to do it online. Obviously, it depends on your bank, what the process for all of that is. I think there actually is a fee, at least for my account, that if you don't keep a certain amount of money in it at all times, you get like some type of account fee. I don't fucking know. But I just make sure to keep it above that number so I don't have to pay anything to have this account. Now, with the savings account, this was only for rent, utilities. I made this account months before I even was seriously thinking about moving out. I would put as much as honestly possible from each paycheck into that savings account, and I did not touch it. Mind you, while I was living at home, I didn't really have many expenses, so I was luckily able to put away a lot of each paycheck for rent. Obviously, I had like my car payments and insurance and stuff that I paid for. Nothing as substantial as rent or a mortgage or anything. Whatever your circumstances are, just try your best. Put away as much as you feasibly can for yourself for as long as you possibly can before you move out. You will thank yourself in the future, I promise. So from when I opened the savings account to when I actually was doing my apartment hunting, I managed to save up enough money to cover an entire year's worth of rent. You don't have to do that. I just have insane amounts of anxiety, and I was like, what if my job just ends and I have no income and then I can't pay the rest of my rent? Like I just had a lot of anxiety. So I wanted to make sure that I felt secure enough. Again, you don't have to do that, but my point is save as much as you possibly can. So now I want to talk about some upfront costs that you're going to be paying when you are in the move out process. You're apartment hunting, you're touring places, you're signing leases. What are the upfront costs that you're going to need to have literally available right when you need to move out. This is expensive. This is the minimum things that you should have saved before you're looking to move out, because you're gonna need to hand these things over on the spot. I don't know if they do this everywhere, but I live in New York City and I was obviously doing my apartment hunting in New York City. The first thing I needed to pay was a good faith deposit. During my apartment hunting process, I had my eye on this one specific apartment. Spoiler alert, it is this one that I'm currently living in. I also made a whole video on my New York City apartment hunting journey, by the way, side note. I'll link it up in whatever corner it is, and I'll put it down below too if you want to watch that after you're done watching this one, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, because I show it all in there as well. I really wanted this apartment, and I was talking to the broker. Who the was it? I was talking to the guy that was like in charge of showing the place, and he told me that if I am super interested in this apartment, to come to the viewing with a good faith deposit, which is essentially a cashier's check from the bank. For me, it was the amount of first month's rent. So if I came to tour and it was still available and I loved it, I could hand them that check, and the apartment was basically at that point reserved for me. They would cancel the rest of their tours that they had coming up. It was essentially mine as long as my application was approved, pretty much. Now, I don't know if that is a thing everywhere, since my experience renting has only been here. So if you live in other places and you rent there, let me know if that's a thing, if you guys do the whole cashier's check, good faith deposit to take it off the market thing. Anyway, so with that deposit, if my application was approved, then that just went towards my first month's rent, which again, spoiler alert, it did get approved. And then if my application was not approved, they would have just returned the check to me. So it's not like I was just giving them a free first month's rent and then having to pay my actual first month's rent. Like, it went towards it. I paid that up front. Next, when my application was approved, I paid the security deposit, which for me was equal to, again, first month's rent, except the security deposit doesn't go towards your rent. It goes towards if you fuck something up in your apartment, they'll use that to pay for it. And if you didn't, then at the end of your lease, they should give it back to you. And if not, you should sue them, but we're not gonna get into that. I believe that I paid an application fee. I don't remember. If I did, it was like 20 bucks. I think that there was a law passed in New York City that they can't charge you more than 20 bucks for an application fee. Let me look that up. Changes to the rent laws capped application fees at $20, but there is an exception for rentals in co-op and condo buildings. Okay, I don't live in a co-op or condo building, so they capped the application fees at 20 bucks, which is great, because why the f would it be more than that? That's so dumb. Also, you may encounter broker fees. I personally did not have a broker fee on this unit. It's literally a case-by-case basis. In terms of the actual like application process, I talked a lot more about this in my touring apartments in New York video. Again, that'll be linked down below. And like some of the documentation that you should have ready in case you need it. So I'm not gonna go over that right now because I already did. Another thing that I did want to say in terms of the application process, somebody asked, is your credit score like really that important? And the answer to that is yes. When your landlord is reviewing applicants, they're going to pick somebody who has a good track record of paying back money that they owed. They want to know that you're good for it, basically. If you're not going to pay them rent, or there's any chance that they may think that you could not pay them rent, they're not going to want to rent to you. Landlords just want your money. Like, that is the whole point. That's what they're in it for. As long as you give them their money, then it's like you're chilling. But your credit score is kind of how they can see if you're gonna pay them. So you want your credit score to be as high as possible. I opened my first credit card when I was 18 because my mom forced me to. She told me that building credit was very important and I would thank myself later for doing it, and that is correct. I am glad that I opened it at 18. That's the earliest I was able to. So my advice out there to anyone is, if you are 18 or over and you have not started building credit yet, you need to start now so that you can have good credit like length. Try to have multiple accounts, like a credit card, and then I have a car loan. I had student loans for college. That shows that it's more diverse, and again, that you're still good for paying all of it. That's really the easiest way I can explain it. You can Google it and you'll probably find way better information, but I wanted to say that credit score is very important. All right, so say you've now found your apartment, you've paid all of those fees, and you got your move-in date set. How much should you be spending on furniture? How much should you have saved? My answer to that is your furnishings don't need to be expensive. You don't have to buy the most expensive shit. I know I didn't. I thrifted a lot of things. My nightstand right there, I thrifted and I redid. I have a video on that as well. That was so much fun. I thrifted my bookcase over here. The desk that my stuff is sitting on right here, my dad and I made together. Like, you don't need to spend an exorbitant amount of money on furniture and decor and whatnot for your apartment. If you have them near you, check thrift stores, check consignment stores. There's so many good pieces of furniture, artwork, decor items that have been like pre-used, pre-loved, and you can get them for yourself at such affordable prices, and you can also DIY them. That is so fun to me. I just love an art project. That's just how I am. If you're like that too, try it out. Like, go to a consignment store, thrift store, get some furniture, get some decor, and revamp it so that it matches what you want. Another place that I know a lot of people used as a good resource to find furniture and stuff is Facebook Marketplace. My one friend Nicole literally furnished almost her whole apartment on Facebook Marketplace, and her apartment looks fantastic. Most people, when they're listing their stuff on Facebook Marketplace, they're trying to get rid of it. Like, they don't want that shit. It's clutter to them, so don't feel like you have to spend ridiculous amounts of money on furniture and decor. You just simply don't. Also, take things that you already own. If you have a bedroom currently at your parents' house, or you have literally any belongings to your name, use as many of those as possible in your new place. If you have to, again, DIY some things, revamp some things so that it looks the way you want it to, by all means go ahead, but that is the cheapest thing to do, is just bringing shit you already own. But obviously there were some things that I did want to buy brand new, and when I was shopping for my apartment, I have videos doing that too. I'll link those down below too. I found this checklist online. I will link that down below as well, and it's basically a first apartment checklist type of thing, and it breaks it down into sections of things that you should have before you move, and then things that you can wait to buy until after you move. There's a ton of stuff on there, and some stuff that you might not think about. It's basic stuff that you might overlook. That list was really helpful for me. And then the last thing I want to talk about in this category is my monthly living expenses. Obviously, we've already talked about rent. Everybody's rent can include different things. Some don't include any utilities. Some include more than mine, but my rent comes with heat and hot water, so I don't have to pay separately for that. Then my utilities bill that I pay every month is my gas and electric, and I pay that to one company. That bill varies every month. During the wintertime, when it was cold as outside and I didn't have to use my air conditioner, obviously, my monthly utility bill for gas and electric was averaging around like $40 to $50. You guys, now that it's summertime and I am using my air conditioner, I just have a window unit because I don't have central air in here because this is an old ass building. My most recent gas and electric bill was $140. So, something to take into account, keep in mind. And then the last monthly living expense is Wi-Fi. I think I pay $60 a month for that because I chose the second highest speed, just like for video uploading and things like that. It's just, and I work from home, so it's something that I could spend a little bit more on. Those three things are really what make up my bare bones, what I pay every month to live in this apartment. That concludes my financial advice lesson. Last but not least, I put together a little list of some things that I can't live without. My top things that I bought for or brought to my apartment. These things have completely made all the difference, honestly, for me. So we're gonna be little material girls here for a second. Bear with me. Also, I'm gonna link as many of these things as I can down below. Some of them I can't link, and you'll see why. Let's just start with the list, because this first thing is something you cannot link, and that is my cat. My cat is the single greatest thing that I brought to this apartment, and the single greatest thing that I have in this apartment. She was free. Like, I adopted her. She's right there under the comforter. I genuinely think that the reason I have been able to live alone without feeling immense loneliness, I still feel lonely, don't get me wrong, but feeling the immense loneliness, homesickness that I anticipated feeling is because I have her. My cat's name is Charlotte, Charlie for short. She is just over 1 year old. She's the light of my life. I wake up every morning and she greets me. She goes to bed with me. She follows me around. She's my little shadow. I had no idea how much I needed her, and I wish I could tell her that and that she would understand how much comfort and happiness and love she has brought to me. She literally is what makes me feel like I'm not alone in this apartment. If you're a cat person and you think that you're, able to and willing to take care of a cat and give it the love, everything that it needs, I would highly recommend adopting a cat. Go to a shelter, go to a rescue, and adopt a kitty that needs a home and give it love. It will give you so much love in return, especially if you're living alone and you're worried about being homesick. I cannot recommend it enough. Next on this list, I bought this before I moved out, but I obviously brought it with me to my apartment. Why the f wouldn't I? And that is my espresso machine. I alluded to this at the beginning of the video when I said I make myself one of these every day. Listen, this machine is the greatest purchase I have made in my life. Not exaggerating. As somebody who is an avid coffee drinker, I drink coffee every day. I have at least one coffee a day. I cannot explain to you the value that having this machine has added to my life. The machine that I have is the Breville Barista Express. It's extremely pricey for a coffee machine, but hear me out. It's an investment. In the long run, it paid for itself. I would have spent the amount of money that I paid for that machine on coffees out in the time that I have had this machine and made coffee at home almost every single day. I prefer the coffee that I make at home to coffees from other places. It's the greatest purchase I've ever made. Oh my God. I have talked about this item a ridiculous amount for what it is, and that is my vacuum. It sounds so dumb when you say it. It's like, shut the fuck up, it's a vacuum, like it's not that serious. No, it is that serious. The vacuum that I have is the Dyson V8 Animal. I'm pretty sure they're on like the V11 at this point. I got this one off of eBay. It was literally brand new in the box, but it was less than it would have been if I bought it from like a store, so I got a deal on it. The whole Dyson Animal line, oh bitch. They're cordless, so you can literally take it anywhere. And it has so many attachments. The attachments are really, it's what gets me. They are so fucking convenient. I vacuum, oh, there's my cat. I vacuum everything. I will put the little like nozzle attachment on it. I'll vacuum tables. I'll vacuum the fucking ceiling. They have like an upholstery attachment. The value and the amount of shit that you get for what you're paying, it is fantastic. I vacuum all the time because it's fun to me. Any vacuum from that line, I would highly recommend. I even bought my mom the Dyson V8 Animal, the same one as I have, and I shipped it to my parents' house for them as a gift because I was like, you need this. The vacuum they had was like 10 plus years old. I'm like, you need this, I promise. She loves it. So the next thing on this list is something that you might not think about, but I promise you, you need it. And that is a tool set. Now I have two tool sets. I have like just the standard tool set, and it has like screwdrivers and box cutter, hammer, tape measure, the like standard tools. And then I have another tool set that is a drill, a power drill set. So I have the drill, I have the drill bits. I highly recommend getting a power drill. The reason that I even bought the power drill in the first place for this apartment is because my dad works in construction, and my whole life he just always is building shit, and he's taught me how to build shit too. And I'm telling you, especially when it comes to decorating, hanging things up, having a power drill is so nice. It's so nice. It makes everything so much easier. It's one of those things that when you need it, you're gonna wanna have it. If you need it, you don't have it, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? The reason I bought this next thing is because I don't have an oven in my apartment. If you're not new here, you probably already know that I don't have an oven because I've talked about it so many times. In place of the oven, I bought the Ninja 10-in-1 XL Pro air fryer oven. The 10-in-1 refers to, it has 10 different functions that it can do. It's a convection oven, it's a toaster, it can roast, pretty sure it can broil, it can like dehydrate things. It just, every function that you need pretty much you have in one machine. It's big enough, but it's not too big. I've been here for like 9-ish months, like I said. It's been perfect for me. And then the last thing, again, this is so random, but I have this one specific room spray. It's a room/linen spray. I got it from Etsy. I will link it down below because you need it, I promise. I really hope they still sell it because it smells so good. I love it so much. Every time I clean, I finish off my cleaning by spraying that like over in my living room. I spray it here. I spray it in the bathroom sometimes. Like it just smells so freaking nice. And especially when I have people coming over, I will spray quickly. You don't need like a ton of it, so it's lasted me like a solid over a year. Don't underestimate the power of a good room spray. When I have people over and I spray that stuff before, they're like, wow, it smells so good in here. I'm like, fucking no. It's so simple and it's like a small thing, but it just adds so much. Anyway, that's it from me today, folks. That is all I had. I feel like there's so many things, like it's just such a complicated process. I feel like I could have talked about 1,000 million other things, but that's just too much. Why would anyone give a fuck? Like no one, no, it's just, we're not here for like 3 hours to listen to me. I hope this was helpful to anyone. If y'all have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. And if I can't get to them and one of y'all watching this is like reading the comments and you have an answer for somebody, please feel free to comment back to them and answer their question and give your own perspective. We all have different experiences, which is what makes everybody so great and unique. So feel free to ask questions down below, answer other people's questions, share your own experiences. Use the comment section as a little discussion board on this topic. You guys got this. I love you so much. And that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you liked it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you stayed until this point in the video, comment down below, I'm a real one, because you're a real one. If you wanna see more videos from me, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I post a new video every Sunday. And if you forget that I post a new video every Sunday, or you just wanna get notified right when I post a new video, make sure to turn on my post notifications for my channel. It's the little bell icon, so that you never miss an upload and you get notified right when I post a new video. I really do talk so fast. I don't know how to make that stop. Anyway, yeah, I think that's it. I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.